In 2001, the Supreme Court of Ohio ruled that the state's method of funding public education is unconstitutional. In order to comply with the Supreme Court ruling on the method of funding public education, what would you do? Mr. Smith?
The Supreme Court has said that we need to first lower our reliance on property taxes, and second, fairly and adequately fund all schools. By not doing anything, the legislature is essentially in contempt of court. If this were anybody else, they would be in jail. I'm going to outline a plan to fix the problem. I'm warning you up front that unlike what you've heard so far, this is a little dry. First, figure out what it really costs to educate an average child and how much more it costs for a child with special needs. Second, lower property taxes, I'm guessing by about a third to around 23 effective mills. This millage would be allowed to grow with property values, with of course some protection for elderly folks on fixed incomes. Next, we want to shift the burden from property taxes over to sales and income taxes so that non-homeowners actually are starting to pay more for their schools. This creates a much larger state pool that can be used to equalize funding. So initially, everybody gets the same amount of money and with a little bit extra for all the special needs kids that they have. Next, what I want to do is give an extra boost to poor school districts by changing the way that we fund the lottery. Right now, the lottery is the most regressive tax we have. Money is pouring out of our poor communities. 30 cents on every dollar is profit from the lottery that goes to the schools. If Hamilton County got its fair share based on how much is played here, our schools will get $11.5 million more a year. Finally, I would give fast-growing townships the right to impose impact fees on new home construction. Because right now, if my neighbor sells their land to a developer and 500 houses go up, we have to build a school and I have to pay for it. I want to have the people that cause the new schools to actually pay for it, and we can do that through impact fees. With this plan, we can make our funding system constitutional and end this terrible cycle of property tax levies.
Thank you. Mr. Schuler?
Yeah, well, with Mr. Smith's plan, with allowing the property tax to go up with the cost and value of homes, that would increase the typical homeowner's property tax so significantly that the Supreme Court wouldn't put him in jail. They'd probably put him before a firing squad. I mean, that's the whole thing that we need to work on is this balance of the property tax versus other taxes. And the simple solution is just do away with the property tax. They did that in Michigan and then told the governor to come up with a plan. Well, the governor didn't come up with a plan, though. He put it on the ballot for the people to vote on. And the last time it was put on the ballot, it's not the truth that the legislature hasn't responded to the ROF. This was filed in 1991. And there have been several responses to that, and through these stages, Supreme Court says, yeah, that's good, but we want something else. As of 2003 is the last time that it went to the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court said we don't want to deal with it. So it's back, and we do need to do something with the property tax. We put it on the ballot to have a 1 cent increase in the sales tax, with half a cent going to decrease property tax and the other half going to the schools in order to respond to the Supreme Court. The people voted that down 80% to 20%. So obviously the people of Ohio didn't think that was a good solution. But we can't just stop. I mean, this is an ongoing thing. We've put 72% increase in schools over the last 10 years, and we've spent $5.5 billion building schools. Almost every school district that has new schools or renovated schools are in the process of planning schools. So that part of the problem is taken care of, but the problem of property tax is not, and we need to continue to work on that.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, would you like 30 seconds?
Yes, this legislature has done some things, but the Supreme Court has still said it's nowhere near enough. Look, I pay about $2,000 in property taxes that go to schools. That would be reduced down to about $1,400. There is some room for that to grow. Now, we're not going to allow it to grow astronomically. That would be nuts. But if we want to get rid of this endless cycle of property tax levies, what we have to do is allow the school's funding source to increase with their costs. Otherwise, the only way that we can do this is by continually putting on new levies.
Thank you, Mr. Schuler. Would you like 30 seconds?
Yes, I just want to comment on a couple things. One, Mr. Smith didn't mention on that lottery, and if you did that with, and it is a regressive tax, it's a voluntary tax, but that would put more money in Hamilton County, but it wouldn't put it in Anderson Township, it wouldn't put it in Newtown, it would put it into the city of Cincinnati and take away from Anderson Township, so that people in this area of the district's taxes would actually go up. 90% of the tax district would go up in taxes, but one school district, maybe two school districts, would get more money. Impact fees can, if they're allowed to be put on, but townships would not be allowed to be paid to build schools. That's unconstitutional.
Thank you.